Consumers are drawing bold lines in the sand. You use AI, we're not spending money with you, and that's on the lower extreme. At most, we're blocking you. That's what they're saying, at least. The ethics of consumer spending and the reality of their decisions is all coming to a head, and it's happening right now. Guys like Gary Vee and Cody Schneider are advocating for an AI-first approach when it comes to your marketing. Billions of influencers vying for your attention, whether it comes to TikTok live sales or more organic spaces like an architecture history YouTube channel. Build as many of these AI influencers as you can and have them push content. Their argument is with the accessibility of AI content creation, your marketing output can 10x. My humble take is simply to observe the soul-sucking nature of a life that is entirely online, which seems like a life that's basically the same, except now all of it is AI. From the perspective of consumers, it makes sense, right? Things are getting more and more lifeless. Dead internet, anyone? But let me put my opinions to the side. Let's start by looking at some numbers here. An MIT study recently revealed that 84% of survey respondents say that companies should be required to make disclosures about the use of AI in their products and offerings to customers. Another study from Binder showed that 55% of folks who can easily identify AI-generated copy. Now, my theory is that when AI is presented as front and center of an offer that is otherwise not AI, and especially in B2C spaces, consumers vote no. But lucky for us, there's a high-profile case that actually played out earlier this year that we can refer to. When Duolingo announced that they would be going AI first, the response from consumers was brutal. Thousands of people took to social media to make it clear that they were done. Some saying, "This is a disaster, I will cancel my subscription. I can't support a company that replaces humans with AI." Now look, I'm 28. I grew up on Terminator and WALL-E-induced fear. Do not trust the robots. Don't fall over yourself so hard into your consumerist addictions that you destroy the simple factors of human existence that make life feel tangible. Still, most of my generation are AI natives. And we use the tools more than likely, at least partially, from a place of control. We get the feedback from AI, and we get to tell it what to do. But when a company, especially one that has a public-facing image of such familiarity like the Duo Bird, says, "Hey, we're going AI first," we think, wait, so I'm a human. Am I second? We're not stupid. We may have normalized companies screwing us over, but not our friends. Klarna, a popular Swedish payment processor, let go of 40% of its workforce, which according to CEO Sebastian Siemiatkowski, was made possible by AI. That 40% is real people, and those people are going to experience a shift in their primary priorities. Those are people who aren't exactly looking at a future that seems like it's loaded with career opportunities. So weeks after his initial announcement that Duolingo would be going AI first, Luis von Ahn did an interview with the Financial Times. In it, he said, "I did not expect this level of blowback." And to me, that response is dumbfounding. Duolingo collected an investment of $45 million because the need was obvious. Language learning apps are notoriously uninteresting. They demand a degree of commitment to skill outcome that's antithetical to addiction-based algorithms. Duolingo was the first mass market language learning app that effectively gamified an outcome most people are actually interested in achieving. But let's be real, Duolingo's success first and foremost grew from a foundation of listening to consumer sentiment. And right now, consumer sentiment is raging against AI. He probably shouldn't have been spending so much time on LinkedIn, because once he actually made the decision, Lewis and the Duo Bird realized their mistake immediately. Swells of people rage canceling their subscriptions. Real human influencers telling their followers, delete the app. For a week, their social media changed its username to GoneForNow123 and simply a wilting rose emoji. All their posts went dark. I actually recently ran a poll on my social media asking my followers, if you knew an influencer was AI, would you continue to follow them? Results? Yeses, 0 votes. No's, 146 votes. With 38 comments also saying I would block the influencer, even if it was a product or service that I used regularly. Now, specific to Duolingo, it's relevant to point out that the company is a B2C brand with a heavy focus on consumer-engaged marketing. Another way to look at this is the sentiment for an influencer. Somebody who at least feels like you have a personal connection with. Just imagine the reaction if it was a service that you relied on daily, like I said from the poll that I took. So I gave you some data, but good thing I have an anecdote for this as well. A friend of mine runs a recording business and actually recently canceled his DistroKid subscription. DistroKid is just a platform that pushes your music or your recordings to Spotify, to Apple Music, to these other platforms, and manages it all for you. Now, my friend's reason for canceling, well, customer service is entirely run by AI now. You actually cannot get in touch with a real person. It feels impossible to actually solve your problem, so using the platform, to him at least, it feels like a nightmare. Ironically, right, the one aspect of the customer journey that is already notoriously difficult to navigate. Well, now it's even more frustrating. My friend is just one person though, and if consumers had that degree of ownership, we might be in a very different situation. Because the broader results are, in my opinion, pretty damn unfortunate. I'm actually gonna farm my interaction with Cody Schneider a little bit deeper. I'm sorry, man. Because when I asked Cody how he justified his AI supercharged content approach, especially when it was clear that from the numbers, consumers don't want anything to do with this, his response was simply, good content is good content. And I hate it, but it seems like he might be right. Citing that study from Binder again, 52% of respondents said that they disengaged with content that they suspected of being AI. Although ironically, and to Cody's point, 56% of those who did not notice the content was generated by AI stated that AI content was actually more engaging. Now back to Duo, we won't know exactly what kind of damage has been done until about a year out from now. However, right now, that damage looks to be pretty minimal. Luis's AI first announcement was posted to LinkedIn on April 28th of this year, 2025. Q2 results for Duolingo are in, and according to Luis von Ahn, they are lower than expected. However, it certainly ain't shabby. They're sitting at a 40% year-over-year growth in paying customers. 48 million people, that's up from 34 million last year. Though notably last year's figure was 60%, which is primarily what accounts for von Ahn's comment that things are lower than expected. In terms of revenue, the company recorded $252.3 million in Q2 of this year. That's a 41% year-over-year increase, which actually exceeded analysts' expectations. Consumers say they don't want AI, but if it's invisible and it delivers value, they might actually prefer it. Steve Jobs famously told Kevin O'Leary a quote that went something along the lines of, "We don't do market research. Nobody knows what they want until I tell them what they want. Then they buy it because I said so." Steve Jobs may have been a bit of a jerk, but it seems like he's right. The challenge for brands is threading the needle without tanking trust. Although until consumers gather some backbone and stand on business when it comes to shutting down support for companies going AI first, doesn't seem like there's any consequences. But I'm curious about you. Has AI generated content helped your business? Has it turned you away from a product that you once used frequently? Drop a comment below. And if you're interested in more business research on trending topics like this, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm Zach from Design Co. Thanks for watching.